Zack Polanksi has changed everything. For 50 years, the Green Party has been largely ignored in British politics, a fringe movement with the odd moment of success. But that could soon all be transformed. Nothing can be taken for granted in British politics, and opinion polls are often wrong. But if they are to be believed, the Greens could be set for a huge night in the local elections this week. Labour councils, especially those in Greater London, which have been Labour for generations, could soon turn from red to green overnight. The last year has been frankly massive for the Green Party. Since Polanski took over, their membership has tripled and they've surged in the polls. They've shifted somewhat away from being a party which talks about the environment first to being one which talks about socialist things first, things like taxing the rich and condemning what's going on in Palestine. The party now appeals to those off on the left of British politics, maybe those who voted for Jeremy Corbyn in 2017 and 2019. But how did the Green Party go from a small group meeting in a pub in the Midlands to enjoy the national left-wing prominence that it does today? That's the question that we'll be answering in this episode. Welcome to History Counts. If you want to know more about the history behind the headlines, then please do subscribe. I make a new video every week. Coventry, November 1972. A small group of people who regularly met in a local pub formed the People Party. They had policies on a huge range of issues, but they saw everything through an ecological prism. They wanted to protect the environment first and foremost. In 1975, they changed their name to the Ecology Party, but it was still more than a decade away from seeing any major electoral success at all. In 1985, they changed their name again, becoming finally the Green Party. Amid increasing public awareness of environmental issues, they made their breakthrough in the 1989 European election, winning 15% of the vote. The party came third, behind only the Tories and Labour. They won 2.3 million votes, but the elections were held under the first-past-the-post system, and it meant that they gained no seats at all. As with so many small political parties or movements, the Greens erupted into civil war, fighting about internal rules and the general direction of the party. By 1992, they'd almost gone bankrupt and they'd managed to lose half of their members. They were entering a long period in the political wilderness. It was 2008 before the Greens started acting as a normal political party. Again, they finally decided to introduce a conventional political leader. Caroline Lucas won that leadership election, and in 2010 she was elected as an MP in the general election for an area of Brighton which traditionally had always embraced environmental issues. She became the Greens' first national figure, a household name by political standards. For 14 years she held on to the seat through austerity, the Brexit strife and the Corbyn years. She kept the Green Party on the map, but they never made the massive breakthrough they needed to surge onwards and make progress. Ahead of the 2024 election, Caroline Lucas announced her intention to step down as an MP, but amidst anger on the left of British politics about the direction that Keir Starmer was taking the Labour Party in as it headed for power, the Green Party managed to win 4 seats at the general election. Enter Zack Polanksi, a man who, since his election as leader of the Green Party in 2025, has tried to solve one of the tensions at the heart of the party. Is the Green Party an environmental party first and foremost, or a socialist one? Polanski's answer to that question was resoundingly a socialist one. He won his election as Green Party leader with 7 times the votes of his nearest rival. He calls his politics eco-populism. He's trying to mimic the style of Zoran Mamdani, the socialist mayor of New York, who was successfully elected just last year. Polanski advocates for huge rises to taxes on extreme wealth and the renationalisation of utilities like the water companies. He also says that climate policy must address some of the cost of living issues that people in Britain face day to day. Those challenges, he argues, share the same causes and the same solutions as the environmental crisis. Polanski is not a typical party leader. He has at various times been an actor, a hypnotherapist, once even claiming that he could enlarge women's breasts, a Lib Dem, and a member of the London Assembly. His success so far in many ways has been hugely impressive, but it hasn't been totally plain sailing. The Green Party under Polanski's leadership is now facing many of the same accusations of anti-Semitism that the Labour Party under Jeremy Corbyn did. That caused Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party huge problems electorally, and it could yet do the same for Zack Polanski if he's unable to address those issues. It is important to note that Polanski is himself Jewish, but over the past few months, the party has seen a huge rise in the number of members and a huge rise in the number of candidates. The criticism is that many who have joined the Green Party and are now standing as its candidates hold views that many would find intolerable. If he's to maintain his current momentum, Zack Polanski needs to rise to that challenge. When it was first founded in that pub in Coventry in the 1970s, the Green Party didn't really see itself as left-wing or right-wing. In fact, the official slogan of the party at one point was "Green politics is neither left nor right, it's out in front." Over the years, the party has drifted to the left, almost accidentally in an unspoken way over the years. But Zack Polanski has now made that position explicit, and he's weaponised it for the political moment that we find ourselves in today. Many people will tell you that the two-party politics of Labour and the Tories is over. Reform, they say, and the Greens are on the rise. That is certainly true if the polls are to be believed, but Britain has been here before. Smaller political parties have won big followings at local elections in previous elections. In 1989, like we saw earlier in this episode, in 2019 when Brexit came close to bringing Theresa May's Tory party to its knees. The real challenge will be whether that multi-party system survives contact with a general election and the first past the post system, which drives people to vote generally for one of the two main parties. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed it, please do subscribe. I try to make a video every week looking at how history affects the things that are going on in the news today and explaining how we got to where we are now.